Do you ever feel like you collect way too many notebooks and you start them all at the same time and then you get really overwhelmed? But then if you only have one notebook, it is not enough, and that also gets confusing because then you can't really categorize anything or organize things the way you want. Yeah, that's me. I think though that I have finally found the right number of notebooks for me. I am really excited to show you what my notebooks are, what I'm using them for, and basically give you a notebook tour. This is my notebook ecosystem video. A lot of people have been asking me for this because usually people do this at the beginning of the year, but I really wanted to test this out for a good amount of time before I sat down and made a video about it. Now that quarter one has ended, here are my notebooks and what I'm using them for. Hi, my name is Sarika. I'm a mom, I'm a business owner, and I love stationery so much. So if you're new here, consider subscribing and let's get into the video. I have 4 notebooks in my journal ecosystem, and these are basically what holds my entire life. I have a journal, a planner, and 2 commonplace books. One is for product design and the other one is for content creation. I think I'm at the max capacity for how many notebooks I can have at any given time, but I feel like if I take one of them away, I'm going to feel like something is missing from my life. So this, I think, is the magic number. If I add another notebook, I am going to be sent into overwhelm. I'm going to start with my journal because I think that is the most important one to me, and then I will go down the line. This is my journal, and I just love her so much. She is a camel traveler's notebook, and she is a more recent addition to my notebook covers. So she looks quite fresh, but traveler's notebooks are meant to be personalized. And as you can see, I've added a couple of accessories such as the brass tag and a little star. And I've also made a tiny collage that says diary. And I love this pen clip. This is from the Superior Labor. I take it on and off, and I have 2 little mini pens that match each other in here. So I'm just gonna take that off and let's open it up and show you my journal. So inside there's even more customization. I've got this lovely patch from Nicole Josephine that says Forest Dweller with a little cabin. I just think it's so cheerful, and all of these things bring me so much joy. This is also from Nicole Josephine. It's a little acorn brass clip. Very useful for holding your pages down. And then in these little pockets here, I've got lots of stationery that I can use. These are some of my older stickers in my shop. And then I've got things like a little envelope of stickers, a little piece of stationery. I've got my business cards in here. And then I also have these mini photos printed out so that I can use them in my journaling practice. Then in the craft folder, I have some more recent stickers, and you'll see these in some of my later journal entries. But these are stickers from my spring composition series, and I just really enjoy using them. This is the notebook that I'm using for my journal, and it is a Tomoe River Paper notebook that's available in my shop. This is the brown Ginkgo one, and I just really love it. So on the inside cover, I've pasted an astrological natal chart. If anyone cares to know, I am a Taurus. I have gotten really into finding out the specifics of my astrology chart, and it's been very, very fun. I started this notebook on January 1st, which is something that I really like to do. It kind of just feels right to me. And I started doing this thing where I draw a little header and I write the date and the topic. And then I also have a little space for either putting a singular sticker or some collage, like a really tiny collage. This has been really great for anchoring the page and kind of making your own dated journal without being restricted to like a certain amount of space. So I will make the header and then I'll write my entry, and then I'll skip 3 lines and then do the next entry. This has been a really fun way for me to journal, and I love this format. And so as you can see, I've done a lot of writing in the beginning of the year and not too much decoration, although the little box kind of challenges me to add something for every day. And I've also been doing some photo stickers again, which is really fun. It kind of just depends on my mood whether I want to add decoration or not, and I think that's the beauty of this journaling practice, is you can make it flexible. When I write in my journal, I don't think too hard about the type of stickers I'm using, but it all seems to come together because of the different headers that I'm using. And I do try to stick with a similar color scheme or something that connects the whole page together, but otherwise I'm just picking whatever I feel is right. Now we're getting into February, and I can tell because of the hearts and Valentine's Day. I've also been taking screenshots and stills of all my videos and printing out my favorite ones just to document like what I look like at the time. I often write about my stationery and what I'm going through in life. Most of the time I'm recording memories and reflecting on what has happened. I also do a lot of internal work in my journal, so here I'm writing about the stages of womanhood. As I reach my mid-30s, I'm kind of accepting and self-actualizing a lot more, so it's been really interesting. Now we're getting into March, and I was journaling a little bit less during this time. There are a lot more days in between my journal entries, but I try not to let it go too many days without journaling. So I like to call this my almost daily journaling practice. This is when I released my spring stickers, and I just enjoyed using these so much throughout all of my notebooks. I just think they add so much whimsy to each page, and I had a lot of fun creating this set. This set of stickers was inspired by romance, fresh beginnings, a little bit of fantasy as well. As the weather gets warmer, I get more inspired and I tend to be more productive, and I tend to want to do more of what I love. So that is why I am showing up more, I think. And this one is a lot more deco. I think this is the most deco that you will have seen in these pages. This spread was actually a result of a class I recently took on Skillshare, who are very kindly sponsoring today's video. It was a class by the one and only Abby C, and I've been wanting to take her class for such a long time. It was called Everyday Journaling: 5 Creative Ways to Document Your Life. If you haven't heard of Abby, she is basically an expert in our hobby in this niche, and I just absolutely adore her style. She's written books on the subject and she documents so well. And I wanted to take this class because I think her style of journaling is quite different from mine, and I have a lot to learn from her. So I decided to take this class, and I've been a member of Skillshare for quite some time, so I'm really happy to see journaling being represented on Skillshare. Skillshare has a ton of classes taught by world-class creatives. It is the best place to learn a creative skill or pick up a new hobby to avoid brain rot. Skillshare is where humans come to learn from other humans. I think Skillshare is a great place to reconnect with your creativity, and I've got a link. So the first 500 people to use my link in the video description or scan the QR code will receive a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. I think I have just enough pages for the rest of April, which I'm really excited about because that means I will be using 3 of these inserts for an entire year. I think that's really cool to kind of predict how many I'll need. Again, I'm using my own notebook. This is a Tomoe River Paper notebook available in my shop. It features a small grid for people who have small handwriting like me, and I think they're really enjoyable to use. And as for the rest of the things in my traveler's notebook, I've got a writing board. These are so useful. A couple of pages of craft paper. You know, you never know when you need a piece of scrap paper. And then in the back pocket, I actually have a Lisi, which is a red envelope for luck. So I have that tucked away that I got for New Year's. So that is my journal. I really love this. It's been going very well so far. And let's go to the next component. Next, we have my planner, and I also have been really enjoying this cover. This is the Hobonichi Café Lait from 2025. So As you may or may not know, Hobonichi releases like limited edition covers. It's very exciting. And when I saw this in 2025, I knew I loved it so much. So I bought it without actually having use for it, but I've been using it for 2026. So yay. This houses my Take a Note Mini. This is an A6 planner. I love it. I did an unboxing a couple months ago, and here is how I've been using it so far. So in the cover, I also have, I've just been holding on to the thank you card from Take a Note here. And then of course, more business cards, just in case I need to network. And then I have the year at a glance from Take a Note. This is a letterpress card, very handy. But yeah, I have these everywhere. And then I also have a Zebra Sarasa Grand pen in here. Again, I swapped out the gel pen for a very thin Jetstream refill. And I just thought that it matched the inside so well that I had to keep this in here. And that is indeed the pen that I use with this. But I'm gonna set this over here. And this houses everything. I only have one planner for personal and work. So Take a Note is a Taiwanese planner brand, and I think they're really, really cool. I love the minimal layout of it. So it has a really small grid, which is perfect for me. And this is the first spread in here. We're gonna jump right into something very personal. We're going to get as personal as it possibly can get, and that is my period tracker. So I thought that this yearly page would be just excellent for tracking my period, just literally putting a dot on the days that I have my menstrual cycle, and then making a little line where I predict my period is going to come. Because I like to track what is most important to me, and my cycle indicates so much about my life. On the second line here, I actually indicate when I have a mental breakdown or feel like crying a lot. And so you can see there's a huge correlation between my mood and my luteal phase. So I want to be aware of when my luteal phase is so I can be more gentle with myself, take care of myself even more during those times. I also take really good care of myself throughout my whole cycle because I have learned over time that I can't neglect that. And it really affects my mental health to take care of my physical health. Over here, these little numbers are just how long my cycle is, so it's pretty average. It ranges between 25 to 28 days. And as I get to know my cycle more, it just has helped me so much. So this is my cycle tracker. I think it's been working out really good. It's a minimal system and it works well. I don't do it on an app or anything. I feel like this works really well for me. Next, we have a sleep tracker. I've never tracked my sleep before, and this is eye-opening. So right here, I have the hours and minutes that I'm asleep, which I track on my Apple Watch at night, and then I write it down here. And for some reason, even if I have it on an app on my watch, I'm not really seeing any patterns. But because I'm putting a little heart on the nights that I get enough sleep, which is 8 hours, I can see that I am simply not getting enough sleep. So I am hitting my exercise really well. I'm really good about my nutrition, but my sleep is abysmal. And I think that's just something that I've accepted over the years because I am a mom of young kids. I think my sleep will naturally improve as they get older. They're 6 and 4, but they're still kind of like need stuff at night. So we shall see. I also wake up really, really early, and that has been a change that I implemented in January. So I think my body is still kind of getting used to waking up early. And I'm talking about like 3:30 in the morning. My body is kind of like, why are you doing this? But I love it so much. Anyways, we're gonna continue tracking our sleep, or my sleep. And these are some of my favorite views in a planner because I just put a lot of stuff in here. So this was a very Christmassy thing because it was December. This planner started then. And I kind of wish I squished the text in a little better. As you can see in January, it looks a little better because I put like a little less space in between my text. But here I write down holidays, when the kids don't have school. I also track how long my manicures last, and they have lasted for about 3 weeks at a time. I also put all of my workouts. So all of my gym days I will put in here so I can coordinate with Sam. I'll put birthdays and when I need to take my medication, when we have appointments and things like that. And then I also like to add decoration. So this was February. I love February's monthly spread. I think it's so beautiful. to me. So this was Lunar New Year. I put a tiny horse, and then I have lots of very romantic stickers without it being like overtly Valentine's Day. So I really love this monthly spread. I did not decorate March. I might retroactively decorate it, but I do love how cute everything looks with the tiny, tiny handwriting in there. And then this is April, so I just started that. I think there's definitely time to go back in and decorate my March calendar. Let's go to... All right, so let's get into the really important stuff, which is the weekly spreads. So the Take a Note planner is quite unique in the fact that 1 week is spread across 2 spreads, and I really enjoy this format. So on the left-hand side here, there's a little weekly thing where I decided to track my protein, carbs, calories, and water intake. So I have an app on my phone where I track all of my food, I weigh it out and everything, and I want to make sure I get a huge amount of protein. Because I'm in the gym, I'm weightlifting, I need to hit like 150 grams of protein at least. And I want to make sure I eat enough calories in order to grow. So that is why I'm tracking it so much. And then I also want to make sure I'm drinking enough water because I'm taking creatine. So I want to make sure I'm getting like 120 ounces of water every day. And I do give myself a little heart if I hit that. I've been doing really well with this method. And then on the daily columns, I will have a to-do list. It's quite substantial. This is my personal to-do list here. In this time frame, I was separating out my work tasks in a different planner, but I've abandoned it. And then after that, on the bottom here, I will put my workouts. So I do track my workouts in an app. As you can see, I do about 4 to 8 exercises per gym session, and sometimes I do home workouts as well. And then I put decoration in between. So my weeks honestly look very similar as we go through. I will mark whether the workout is a lower body, an upper body, or a home day, or like if there's a rest day, I do rest. Look at this resting cat, how cute. When I say rest day, I mean I'm not lifting weights because I feel like I could walk for hours and hours. And then I also have stretching for my rest days, full body stretching for mobility, because when you lift weights, you don't want to neglect that. And as for the to-do list, I honestly do write the same things over and over, but for me, that's just how my brain works. I really love having something to check off. And yes, you might think like, why do you need to write the fact that you eat breakfast and lunch and dinner? And I'm telling you, it's because I might forget. Like I really just might do something and then lose track of time and then forget. So I feel like my brain is a little bit different in that way. People have made fun of me in the past for having to write things like take a shower or, very basic things throughout the day. But I feel like there's just so much to keep track of. And my brain is a little bit scattered that if I don't have like a very rigid structure like this, I'm going to like lose the pieces. So you can probably diagnose me with something there, but I feel like this structure has been working really, really well for me. And that's why I have apps. That's why I just track everything to a T. So as we move on into spring, you'll see I'm also using the spring stickers in here in my calendar and my weekly stuff. And I have been enjoying this planner so much. And look, I have also been using some cool toned stickers as well. And I think like even when I have all this rigidity and all this structure in my life, the thing that makes it really fun and unique are the stickers from day to day, right? So I feel like it's very indicative of my personality. Even though I have a lot of structure and rigidity, I'm also the type of person to crave the dopamine of newness. And I think that's why I plan in this way and I journal in this way. Yeah, that's pretty much it. We are down to the last thing here. There's not much else in the planner. There are a few little grid pages in the back, only 4 actually. So I made a swatch page with some of the gel pens, highlighters, and colorful dot stickers here. So this is a nice spread. I don't know what else I would use this for, but who knows? Throughout the year, I might pick something. Now the next 2 notebooks are what I call my commonplace books, although I think I'm using the term very loosely. I am kind of using them as a place to brainstorm ideas for my work. So there are two notebooks. One is for product design and the other one is for content creation. I'm so in love with the idea of commonplacing because it's been popularized a lot in the analog world, but I don't really think I'm doing it in the way that like commonplacing was meant to be, but oh well. This is my very first traveler's notebook and it has developed such a beautiful patina. I've also glued on a superior labor patch and added a little bear. I love this thing. Got a little collage here. And then I've got another Nicole Josephine patch here, homebody. I'm actually not a homebody, but sometimes I am. So I do love going out so much though. But I just love the colors and it's pretty. So this is the pocket. I have more business cards here. I've got a picture of myself in the studio. This is a Polaroid. And then I have some labels. And then I have some die cut stickers in this pocket that I designed for paper and pencil. And then in this pocket, I have more of those like current spring stickers that I love using so much. This is the very first notebook that I ever designed. It's the Fern one. And this notebook is kind of a commonplace book in the loosest of terms. I know that commonplacing is a place where you can gather tidbits that are interesting from media, from books, quotes, anything that you find could be useful in your own personal development. So I am kind of using it in a different way. I guess you could call this a workbook or a place to brainstorm and record ideas. But these are the categories that I'm using this notebook for. It's big picture, brand identity, ideation, and development. So this is where I want to think about my small business in terms of like the big systems. And I also need a place to brainstorm things and work through like different product launches. I have been doing the same format with the header. I'm just making a little square here. Instead of like a larger space, there's just enough space for a color dot in order to do all of those categories. And so I find that I like to journal in long form for my personal life, so why not take that concept and do it for my work? I was kind of doing this in my personal journal, but I decided to make that for my life, and this is more for my work. I think it's been really helpful to have that separated out. This is also a place where I will test out my stickers. Because my stickers are clear matte, it doesn't quite look the same when it's applied on paper. They actually look way better when you stick them on paper. So for every sticker sheet that I design, I will literally just take them all and put them on the page. They just look more vibrant and the ink looks better when you press it down. So as you can see, I feel like they all look kind of better scattered about as well. But it's always fun to just stick them down. I really like this Daydreamer one. I feel like it's very me right now. And then this one, the blue one, very different from my usual colors, but I love it. And I just started this notebook because before I was doing a lot of this sort of work digitally, but I'm an analog girly and I feel like this has actually made me want to do more of that deep work than having to turn on my computer and sit down and type. And I feel like that mind to memory connection is just so much more powerful when you're using a pen. So I think that's part of the reason why I have been so much more like wanting to do work, because I can do it on paper. So because this is a relatively new concept, I haven't used this a lot. I do feel like I need to do more deep work and more systems thinking like this. So hopefully I will be able to show you more later on this year. This is another writing board and some more paper. And then in the back, it's just the same as my other traveler's notebook. I keep another lucky red envelope here for prosperity and good fortune. I am Chinese, so carry that with me. Finally, we've got this little cutie here. This is my passport size traveler's notebook. I also have another bear on here. I did buy two. I just love bears, okay? I have a thing with bears. And I have another little collage as well. I do kind of want to change these out since they've been here for several months. But this little guy is just so cute. Let me zoom you in. In this little zip pocket, there's not much room, but I do have a couple of random things. Some PET tape from Abby C, some stickers. This one is the holiday one from the little bear charm I got. And then the tiniest little pieces of watercolor paper that I rounded. I don't know, maybe I want to paint something on the fly. So it's not that much space because this is sewed at a very weird place. And then in here, I actually have 2 notebooks in here. I just love a good chunky passport notebook. Like, it's so satisfying. So this is my favorite writing board. 2022, I love that theme for that year. And it's just so beautiful. I just kind of have it tucked in here. So this one is the Rose notebook, Black Rose. I love it. And this one is for my YouTube channel. So this whole thing is for like content creation, commonplace book, but I am a little bit unsure about this one. That's why I saved it for last, because I haven't actually been using it very much to do my social media brainstorming. This is where I can think about things like my YouTube's brand identity, strategy, ideation, and development for a YouTube concept. But I honestly have been using my note-taking app more. So it honestly depends. I am an analog girl, but sometimes I do just want to type things out or use voice to text. It just depends on what it is. So here I only have like 1 page, but maybe I will do more of this on the fly. I like to think of myself as the type of person to bring a notebook everywhere with me, and this is what it would be. But do I want to limit myself to the topics of YouTube? And in this case, for the Lily notebook, I kind of made it about short form social media. I don't know if that's like the only thing I want to write about when I'm out and about. I have a little bit more here because I have been doing more for short form content. But again, there's only a few pages. So these categories are a little different than my YouTube channel. These are just different types of posts that I want to put onto my short form. And I have done more on my other social media platforms simply because it's easier, because it's shorter. But the types of posts that I want to do are storytelling, which is about myself, about my philosophy in life. Then there's value driven, so things that are helpful for the audience, whether it's a very direct tutorial, providing inspiration or motivation for their own creativity. And then there's marketing. Of course, I have a small business, so I do need to promote my products and maybe show a little bit of behind the scenes. There are some branded partnerships and affiliate programs that I do create some posts about other businesses. So these are all the different types of posts that I do. So again, I'm not really using this a lot because I feel like I either do it digitally or I'm just doing it without a lot of planning at this point because short form has become so like second nature to me. So I actually might change up my notebook concepts because if I'm not really using it, then what's the point? And I do kind of want to use my passport size traveler's notebook as an everyday carry. I'm kind of thinking out loud here, but I kind of want to have like a couple commonplace books for maybe broader things, maybe something that's a little bit more enjoyable and not so much about work, you know? But here we have some color dot stickers. These are so useful for commonplacing. So I've got the whole set, I think. And then I got a couple of gold stickers here. Then at the very back, I've got some scrap papers. These are cream colored scrap papers. One has dots and one does not. One is blank because you never know when you need to scribble something down, especially when you're out and about. And then in the back pockets, I've got yet another lucky red envelope, some hongbao, some lisi, and then of course a set of business cards because if this is going to be my everyday carry, this is probably where I should put my business cards, right? And then this is kind of why I bought this little janky thing. I really liked the pen loop. I just love carrying my uni ball here. So that's the main reason why I have this. And that is it. So this one is a little bit less sure. I don't know if it's going to stay like this, whether I try to make a push to keep working on my YouTube channel and my storytelling, my short form storytelling posts in these notebooks, or do I want to change it up? Who knows? But again, it's flexible and even so, even though I might change it, I still wanted to show you because maybe it can help someone else. Maybe someone needs a setup like this and it would work better for someone else. So let me know if that's something that you'd want to try. I used to put so much pressure on myself to find the perfect analog system in the beginning of the year, like by January, and stick with it for the entire year. But I think that is kind of too rigid for me. It's a form of perfectionism that I don't think is very helpful. I have been working in notebooks and documenting my entire life in notebooks for over a decade now, and I have now accepted that I'm constantly evolving as a person, and my life is always changing as the seasons of time go on. So, therefore, my notebook system is going to change as well. I feel like accepting this change has really allowed me to become more free in my creativity, and I hope this mindset helps you guys if you are experiencing some sort of hesitation, some sort of fears of conquering the blank page. I hope this video inspired you or motivated you to just start your notebooks today. And if you already had a notebook system, let me know in the comments what it was. Has anything changed? Do you want to change anything? Because I think it's totally okay. I think life is too short to stick with something that's not working for you anymore. And I think that mindset is really helpful for other areas of life as well. So as always, take care of yourselves. Happy journaling, happy planning, and I will see you very soon for another video. Bye.